that is the background of where I happen to be at Cinnamon.
What did your family do to make their living when they were on the reservation?
Well, when I came there, fishing was the main thing. Fishing. First time I remember, we went to Lopez Island. We went to Lopez Island, and there was two families. There were old Bob Edwards and Billy Edwards. They were seniors. They had two half brothers, Charlie and Dick Edwards. They were from Swinomish people. Dick Edwards and them. Their mother was full-blood Swinomish, but their father was Amish, come from Grimace Island. The canneries was started over here at on west of Anacortes, and so they had these people here. They gave them they had reef nets long before they come in the white man. So these four brothers got together and they went up to Locust Island and they put reef nets on there. They were still primitive. I guess at that time I was around 4 or 5. That's the first year we came in there. Anyhow, as I remember it, I laugh about that once in a while. They gave them ropes, they give them nets, ropes, anchors, so they can anchor these reef nets. The people were so primitive. They said that sockeye would not follow that rope there. We have to take the old webs to make ropes. Twisted cedar, young cedar, twisted to make ropes out of them. That's even the anchors, they would use anchors, they took great big poles and put it in there. But they didn't catch a lot of fish, and that's the first time we were fishing. But to go on with that story, I remember that there was a big field. I used to have lived there for quite a while. There was ranches around there, settled in there. Oh, there was apple trees and so on. And anyhow, they had a ball field where they'd been fishing on before. Anyhow, the first catch from this here reef net, they roasted them. Then there was a procession there on his ball field. And they would sing this little tune to this sockeye because this sockeye was a relative of theirs. Going back into the sea where one of the Samish girls had married into the people from the sea, the land of the sockeye salmon. So they were giving thanks to the spirit who brought the salmon. And went there around and they came back. Then of course I spread everything on the head table, salad on the ground there, and everybody ate. And after eating that, then there was a big baseball game went on. But the thing is that they still believed in that. They had to have the ways, but the spirit guide. They had a spirit guide that gave them these and how to fish. That's as far as that. But then they continued on. After the fishing was developed, cannery was developed, and many canneries came in there. My folks worked up there every summer. Only one summer was over at Chuckman Bay, and there was a cannery there. And I might as well go on with the thing as I saw it. I worked there 5 cents an hour. Put in these little tins on top of this, can for salmon. They used to have the puncture that on the top of the can, so let out that steam from there. Then they'd solder it afterwards. Well, this little piece of tin we put on there to keep the solder from going into the meat. And so that was my job. 5 cents an hour, put in 10 hours at a time. Boy, I've been working since that small. But then I worked till I was 14, I was 14 when I left from there. When we went to school in Chino, 1915. I was 15 when I got there. Yeah. But then I had learned something about this fishing, cameras, steam, and so on, so on, that sort of so on. Well, that was the main thing. Of course, they went hopping. They'd fish there, so I worked in the cannery. They come up here to pay out. And we come up here, 1903 was the last time we come up here over here, hopping. But that was the main thing, fisheries and hopping. And of course, the younger men, and some worked in the logging camps and lumber mills. But my parents worked at this fisheries and hopping. That's one for doing a living.
Last time I was here, you mentioned that your uncle was a medicine man.
Oh yes, in the village where we lived, on the east side, Monks' allotment, Charlie Chappie's allotment, Charlie Blue's allotment. There was a village, I see, a settlement in there, a radius of about, a little over a quarter of a mile. There were 7 houses within that area. People lived there. And out of that 7 houses, there were 5 medicine men. My uncle Jim McCudd was the youngest. That's where we commenced to have worked in that. It's right at that very place. I said, how I happened to find out, of course we used to go, somebody was sick from Canada or someplace, they'd ask my parents, they were good singers, to go up and keep time, beating on sticks or whatever it was, and keep time with these songs. That brings in the spirit, gives them more power to overcome the evil spirit that's control the sick person. So one day, Mother and I, we went across the Swinomish Channel, went to a farmer out there, and had wool. And we come to a post, and she said, "What's that, son?" I said, That's an ad from the store down there about what they were selling." She says, "That's it, son. Take that and master it. We're slaves to this new culture. Master that." And it says, "You'll be successful." It says, look at my cousins, Thomas F. Williamson. He went to school. And look at Miss George Alexander. She finished her course at the Catholic mission school in Tulalip. Mrs. Preston. She went on to talk about who was successful. Said nothing but, don't forget our background. Once in a while, feel like it, and go out and fast for a day or 2 or a night or so out and away from the habitat, up in the mountains or wherever we can be, and so go to the islands, bathe and pray for guidance. Not that you will become one of us, but she says it will, nature will know you. Stranded someplace, if the nature knows you, you're not going to get sick and die. You're going to live. So that has been my life. It's just that my belief. But your my grandmother says, "Well, look at your uncle. He's a medicine man as good as any." He's from the very high of that country, but he said, "I myself understand it." I had 2 aunts. Uncle was a great medicine man. Well, from background, both sides of the family. Doesn't do us any good, so the new culture is the thing. That was the very beginning.
Can you describe for me what it was like when you started to school? Did you speak English when you started at the school on the reservation?
No, I could say, yeah, no, that's all I know about. See, the language was very much in Indian, especially in that neighborhood, but except what mother tells me about these people. But anyhow, everyone, these Indians, they understood the language, even if they didn't go to school. Master to understand enough to speak with the English language. There's very little Chinook. Said it was not their language at all. The English and our Skagit language. Understood. I might well say right now, before I forget it, a version of the Skagit language or dialect, let's say, was understood from Olympia clear to South Bellingham. Simpler dialects they developed, and so the accent was different. The Tulalip and the Squatters have a similar accent. The Skagit River Valley was not, even the Skagit River Valley, way up on upper parts of the river there's a difference of how they spoke, much like they do. I'll say of the New England, and they sort of speak the English language, such as they are from over there, down to Georgia. That's about the difference. But they understood each other. So when we went to school, that's all I knew. But the teacher was very patient. She knew what she was doing. We had a teacher for a little while. I think she was a stenographer.